What if I told you that one of the most stubborn, unresolved mathematical conjectures of the last decade was finally solved, and the researcher who definitively cracked it doesn't even have a pulse?
It sounds like science fiction, right? But it's actually happening.
Yeah, exactly. You are listening to a deep dive that fundamentally changes how we think about human knowledge. So, welcome to you, our inherently curious listener.
Glad to have you here.
Today's stack of sources is just a staggering synthesis of articles, research notes, and papers. We're pulling heavily from recent publications in Nature, the arXiv preprint server, and Google DeepMind's own research blog.
And there's a lot of material to cover.
There really is. Our mission today is to cut through the everyday AI hype. We are leaving behind the chatbots writing quirky poetry.
Thankfully.
Right, and the image generators, too. We are looking at how artificial intelligence is actively becoming humanity's scientific co-pilot.
Which is a massive shift.
It is. Demis Hassabis, the CEO of DeepMind, recently made this massive claim based on the research we're reviewing today. He stated, "We are currently at the dawn of a new golden age of discovery."
And looking at the data in these papers, that statement actually moves past hyperbole and into observable reality. DeepMind is tackling this scientific revolution through a very deliberate dual strategy.
Which is fascinating.
Right. On one side, they are building systems to decipher the incredibly messy, chaotic physical world of biology. But on the other side, they're deploying models to conquer the absolute, rigorous, abstract world of pure logic and mathematics.
So they're basically trying to solve both the wet lab and the chalkboard simultaneously.
Exactly.
Well, let's start with the messy biological side, because there has been this massive mystery surrounding our DNA for decades.
Oh, absolutely. The whole concept of what actually matters in our genome.
Right. We've known for a long time that only about 2% of our DNA actually codes for proteins.
Just 2%.
Yeah, and the other 98% was, for years, literally dismissed by the scientific community as junk DNA.
Which, in hindsight, seems a bit arrogant of us, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, let's unpack this. If we think about the human body like a massive, complex theater production, that 2% of coding DNA are the actors on the stage.
Right, they get all the spotlight.
Exactly. They get the attention, they deliver the lines, they build the proteins, and for decades, we just thought the rest of the theater was empty space.
Just a void.
Yeah. But that 98% junk DNA is actually the invisible directors, the lighting crew, the stage managers, and the scriptwriters.
It's the infrastructure.
Right. It's an unbelievably complex control system telling the actors exactly when to perform, how loud to speak, and when to exit the stage.
Biologists actually refer to that regulatory background as the dark genome. And understanding those directors and lighting crews has been practically impossible.
Because it's just too much information.
Yeah, the sequences are so incredibly vast and convoluted. The mechanisms driving genetic expression are hidden in microscopic chemical interactions across millions of data points.
Millions.
Millions. And this is where the breakthrough published in the journal Nature in January 2026 comes in, a system called AlphaGenome.
And this model, it completely shattered my understanding of what data processing looks like.
It's operating on a whole different scale.
Totally. AlphaGenome is a deep learning model that takes a DNA sequence of up to 1 million base pairs and processes it all at once.
Which is hard to even conceptualize.
It really is. Just to put that into perspective for you, reading a sequence of 1 million base pairs is like reading a text that is 1,000 times longer than Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace.
Oh, wow. And we need to look at the engineering trade-off that existed before AlphaGenome to really understand why this matters.
Right. How did they do it before?
Well, historically, if researchers wanted to look at a very long sequence of DNA to see the big picture, they had to zoom way out, sacrificing all the fine chemical details.
They lost the resolution.
Exactly. If they wanted single nucleotide precision, which is the absolute highest resolution to see individual chemical letters, they could only look at tiny, isolated snippets.
So it's like trying to appreciate a massive, complex mural through a microscope. You see the paint strokes, but you have no idea what the picture is.
That's a great way to put it. And AlphaGenome eliminates that trade-off entirely.
It just does both.
Yeah, it maintains single nucleotide precision over those vast million base pair regions. Mechanically, it uses a transformer architecture similar to what powers large language models.
Like the chat AIs.
Right, but heavily modified to understand the grammar of biology, so to speak. And it is multitasking at an unprecedented level.
What else is it doing?
It simultaneously predicts how RNA will splice, which is essentially how the genetic script is edited and cut together.
Okay.
It predicts how the genome will physically fold itself into 3D shapes inside the cell nucleus and exactly where transcription factors will bind. Those are the chemical triggers that turn genes on and off.
So it basically maps the entire theater production in one pass.
Exactly, in one single pass.
And the efficiency highlighted in the source notes is staggering. Training this massive AlphaGenome model only takes about 4 hours.
Just 4 hours.
4 hours. Using Google's Tensor Processing Units, or TPUs, which are microchips specifically designed to handle the massive matrix multiplications required for neural networks.
And they've made the model open for non-commercial research, too.
Which is huge.
It is.
Yeah.
The clinical application demonstrated in the Nature paper shows exactly why this is a turning point for medicine.
Tell me about the leukemia case, because that blew my mind.
Yeah, so researchers used AlphaGenome to look at a specific mutation involved in T-cell leukemia. Before this, finding a mutation in the dark genome was like knowing a light bulb was broken somewhere in a skyscraper, but you have no blueprints.
Just wandering the halls in the dark.
Right. But AlphaGenome analyzed the sequence and predicted exactly how this non-coding mutation physically alters the DNA structure to activate the TAL1 oncogene.
And that's the oncogene that drives the cancer.
Precisely.
And the system did it in seconds.
Literally seconds. Identifying that specific pathological mechanism previously took researchers years of painstaking laboratory work.
Years of trial and error.
Exactly. They would have to mutate cells, grow them in petri dishes, run countless assays, and just slowly eliminate possibilities one by one.
And when you were dealing with rare genetic diseases or aggressive cancers, a diagnosis is a literal race against the clock.
It's life or death. Going from merely identifying a genetic variant to fully understanding its mechanical disease pathway in minutes completely rewrites the timeline of clinical pharmacology.
It is paradigm shifting for the physical world. But, biology is organic and chaotic. DeepMind's other massive leap, according to our sources, is in a realm that demands absolute, rigorous perfection.
Pure mathematics.
Exactly. Pure mathematics. We are moving from mapping organic chemistry to generating abstract logic.
Right. So DeepMind recently introduced an AI research agent built specifically for abstract reasoning, which is detailed in a series of papers on the ArcSuv preprint server. They call it AlphaGenome.
AlphaGenome.
Yeah. It functions as a hyper-advanced iteration of their Gemini Deep Think architecture.
Okay.
But AlphaGenome is not designed to chat or summarize documents. It is structurally engineered to function like a tenure-track mathematical researcher.
I was reading the ArcSuv paper on AlphaGenome, and its approach to legacy problems is unbelievable.
It really is. What's fascinating here is how AlphaGenome searches for solutions differently than a human mind.
Well, take the field of submodular optimization, right?
Yeah.
Which deals with functions that have diminishing returns. There was a specific conjecture proposed back in 2015.
Yes, I saw that.
And for a solid decade, human mathematicians couldn't definitively prove it or disprove it. The problem was just stuck.
Completely gridlocked.
Right. But AlphaGenome didn't just slowly chip away at the edges. It independently built a highly specific 3-element counterexample.
Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. By generating that counterexample, it definitively proved the human conjecture false, closing a 10-year debate overnight.
And it can do that because human researchers are constrained by their specific domains of expertise. A geometer uses geometry, an algebraist uses algebra.
Right, you stick to what you know.
Exactly. But AlphaGenome has access to the entire formalized landscape of mathematics simultaneously, allowing it to make lateral connections across disciplines that a human would never intuitively attempt.
Wait, hold on. This brings up the max cut problem from the sources, and I really need you to break this down for the listener.
Alpha max cut problem, yeah.
Because the max cut problem is about dividing complex networks efficiently, right? It's a discrete computing problem dealing with separate, distinct data points.
That's right.
But to solve it, the AI reached into a completely different toolbox. It used concepts from continuous mathematics, specifically measure theory, and the Stone-Weierstrass theorem.
Which is wild.
Right. If you're driving right now and your eyes just glazed over at those terms, stick with us because the math itself isn't the point.
No, it's the method.
Exactly. It's the completely bizarre way the AI solved it. It's like an architect using musical theory to solve a structural engineering problem. How does measuring something continuous solve a problem about discrete networks?
Well, think about discrete math as counting individual Lego bricks. You are dealing with distinct, separated objects.
Okay, Lego bricks.
Continuous math, on the other hand, deals with smooth, unbroken spaces, like calculating the flow of water through a pipe.
Right.
For a human mathematician, applying the rules of water flow to a pile of distinct Lego bricks makes zero intuitive sense. They're fundamentally different frameworks.
It's apples and oranges.
Exactly. But AlphaGenome used measure theory, the mathematics of continuous volume and area, to essentially flow a theoretical probability distribution over the discrete network, allowing it to find the optimal cut.
Wow.
Yeah, it treated a rigid network like a fluid space.
That is deeply creative. It's alien creativity, but it works.
It does work.
And Alethea's autonomy goes beyond just solving a given equation. The sources highlight another paper called Eigenweights.
Oh, the Eigenweights paper is a perfect example.
Yeah. Alethea was presented with a complex problem in arithmetic geometry, which merges number theory with geometric space.
Right.
The AI understood the parameters, ideated a novel solution, wrote the entire research paper, and formatted it perfectly in LaTeX.
Which is notoriously difficult to use.
Yeah, LaTeX is the standard, highly complex typesetting markup language used by scientists to format complex equations. No human hand typed a single word of that document.
The workflow between human and machine is transforming fundamentally. The sources describe a new operational framework called vibe proofing.
Vibe proofing, I love that term.
It's very catchy. The human researcher transitions from doing the grueling computational labor to acting as a high-level conceptual advisor.
Okay, how does that work?
So a mathematician might observe a pattern and think, I have a strong intuitive hunch about this theorem. The general vibe feels correct, but I lack the rigorous proof.
So they just hand that intuition to Alethea. The AI immediately turns into an insomniac postdoc. It autonomously scours Google Scholar, ingests relevant internet papers, cross-references existing theorems, and then returns to the human with a fully verifiable, mathematically sound draft.
That's the dream, right?
But wait, if the AI is hallucinating or making up math, this whole system collapses.
True. Knowing its own computational limits is vital for a scientific tool, and that's where the first proof challenge comes in.
Right, from the papers.
Yeah. It's an evaluation framework built by top-tier mathematicians specifically to stress test artificial intelligence models.
Okay, so they tested Alethea.
They did. Alethea was given 10 incredibly difficult researcher-level mathematical problems. It autonomously solved 6 of them.
6 out of 10 is pretty incredible.
It is, but crucially, for the 4 problems it couldn't solve, it did not confidently hallucinate a fake proof or rely on flawed logic.
It didn't just guess.
No. It analyzed its own reasoning pathways, hit at dead ends, stated, I don't know, and ceased output. Yet, in scientific research, an AI that confidently admits ignorance is vastly more valuable than one that guesses.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I have to push back on this entire dynamic.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
If an AI can map the human dark genome in an afternoon, and it can autonomously leap across mathematical disciplines to solve a 10-year-old conjecture, and then physically write the publishable paper in perfect LaTeX.
Yeah.
What exactly is the human scientist supposed to do now?
Ah, the existential question.
Right. If the machine is the one doing the deep-sea exploring, formulating the lateral math connections, and executing the verification, aren't we essentially just outsourcing the scientific method itself? We aren't really conducting the orchestra. We're just buying the ticket and taking credit for the symphony.
That's a valid concern. DeepMind has actually published a specific taxonomy of AI autonomy to classify exactly where we are, which directly addresses your concern.
Okay, what's the taxonomy?
The taxonomy ranges from level 0 to level 4. Currently, with systems like Alethea and AlphaGenome, we are sitting firmly at level 2.
It's just level 2.
Yeah. This means the AI can produce publishable research independently, functioning as a highly capable assistant. But to reach level 3, which is defined as generating a major scientific breakthrough, the human element is still strictly required.
Still required. How so?
The human provides the initial spark of inquiry, the ethical framing, and the determination of which problems actually matter. The AI does not wake up feeling curious about leukemia, you know?
Fair. It doesn't have inherent motivations.
Exactly. The human directs its immense computational power toward that target. Dimas Hasadis views the AI as the flawless executor, while the human assumes the role of the orchestra conductor.
Well, I need to stop you there because that timeline for when the AI might start doing everything on its own is shrinking rapidly.
It really is moving fast.
Hasadis dropped a total bombshell regarding AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Yes, I read that part.
He stated that an AGI capable of understanding, learning, and applying intelligence across any broad range of tasks at or above human level could arrive in just 5 to 8 years.
Which is staggering.
5 to 8 years. That is not some distant, abstract future. We are talking about the length of a single car loan before a machine can potentially outthink humanity across every scientific discipline.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Hassabis notes there is one primary technical hurdle remaining to achieve that 5 to 8 year timeline.
What's the missing piece?
The missing piece is continuous learning. Current AI models are static once trained. You train a massive model on a supercomputer, you freeze its neural weights, its knowledge base, and you deploy it.
Right, it doesn't learn new things on the fly.
Exactly. It only knows what it learned up to that exact training cutoff.
Okay.
The ultimate milestone for AGI is an architecture that continues to learn, adapt, and update its foundational synaptic weights in real time after it has been deployed into the world.
Actively learning from its environment exactly like a biological human brain does.
Yes, precisely.
But we are already seeing the friction of this rapid acceleration out in the real world. We aren't waiting 5 years to feel the impact.
Oh, definitely not.
The sources point out that Isomorphic Labs, which is a spin-off company from DeepMind, is actively using these exact Level 2 tools to design novel pharmaceuticals.
Right now, today.
Yes, we are talking about actual preclinical trials for new AI-designed cancer drugs that are underway right now.
The acceleration of discovery means fundamentally new materials for batteries, advanced carbon capture mechanisms, and highly personalized medical treatments could arrive decades earlier than our previous societal projections anticipated.
So what does this all mean? Handing over the keys of scientific discovery to an autonomous, hyper-intelligent entity exposes some massive structural vulnerabilities.
Absolutely. It's not all positive.
No. I want to look at the shadows outlined in our sources. Hassabis himself spoke at the India AI Summit and issued a stark warning about biosecurity.
The dual-use dilemma is inherent to any powerful technology, but an agentic AI magnifies the risk exponentially.
An agentic AI?
Yeah, an agentic AI is one that can act with agency, stringing together complex sequences of actions to achieve a high-level goal.
Right. And if you have an agentic system brilliant enough to map the dark genome and autonomously design a life-saving, highly targeted cancer drug, the inverse equation is terrifyingly simple.
It is.
In the wrong hands, that exact same system could be prompted to design a highly targeted, highly lethal biological toxin.
Which is why Hassabis is urgently calling for global guardrails.
Because the barrier to entry for engineering biological threats is plummeting. You no longer need a team of PhDs in a massive lab. You just need access to the right AI model.
And beyond the immediate biological security threats, the sources highlight a deep logistical and economic challenge regarding who actually gets to wield this power.
Right, who owns the AI?
Exactly. A prominent expert from Heidelberg University noted the extreme ambivalence of the current scientific landscape.
Okay.
We have a private corporation holding the proprietary keys to what will undoubtedly become the central infrastructure of all future scientific endeavor.
I mean, right now, DeepMind makes some of these tools open for non-commercial research, but they're ultimately a private business with a fiduciary duty to shareholders.
And this raises an important question. The Heidelberg researcher raises the prospect of an API paywall gap.
An API paywall gap?
Yeah. If utilizing a Level 2 AI agent becomes the absolute baseline requirement for conducting meaningful, publishable science, we risk fracturing the global research community.
Because it's expensive.
Extremely expensive. Wealthy, elite institutions will easily afford the massive subscription fees or compute costs to perform cutting-edge discovery.
While universities and researchers in developing nations could be locked out of the scientific frontier entirely.
Right. The fundamental capacity to discover risks becoming a privatized commodity.
This raises an important question about how we even verify what these machines are producing. The sources outline a concept that fundamentally broke my brain.
Let me guess. The evaluation paradox.
Yes, the evaluation paradox. Let's go back to that first proof challenge, the framework where Alethea was solving researcher-level math problems.
Right, where it solves 6 out of the 10 problems.
Right. But the detail hidden in the results is deeply unsettling.
Oh, it really is.
For one of the complex solutions Alethea generated, the human experts evaluating the test, some of the top mathematicians in the world, could not reach a consensus on whether the AI's mathematical proof was actually correct.
Just think about that for a second.
The top human mathematical minds on Earth couldn't figure out if the computer was doing math correctly.
Because Alethea reasoned at a level of abstraction or took a lateral leap across disciplines that was so complex and alien that the human judges were left debating the validity of its logic.
It's just wild.
This is the evaluation paradox.
Mhm.
How do we build safety guardrails or rigorous verification frameworks for an entity that solves problems in dimensions the human mind fundamentally struggles to comprehend?
Okay, let's bring all of this together.
Let's do it.
What we're witnessing today, through the lens of AlphaGenome deciphering the dark genome and AlphaFold independently writing publishable mathematical proofs, is the literal birth of an AI-augmented scientific method.
We are. We are moving rapidly into a paradigm where the human researcher provides the hypothesis, sets the boundary conditions, and identifies the target.
Right.
But the heavy lifting, the exploration of the data ocean, the lateral creative thinking across isolated disciplines, and the ultimate formulation of the discovery is powered entirely by the machine.
And Demis stated that his core driving mission is to solve intelligence, to use it, and to solve everything else.
Everything else.
Yeah. For you listening today, that everything else encompasses the physical realities of your future.
Exactly. Personalized medicine engineered for your specific genetic markers, next-generation clean energy grids, and fundamentally new physical materials.
And they are suddenly arriving on a timeline measured in months and years rather than centuries.
The bottleneck of human cognitive limits has been shattered.
But I want to leave you with a completely different angle to ponder as we sign off.
Okay.
We talked about the evaluation paradox where human experts couldn't understand Altheia's math. And we talked about continuous learning, the threshold where AI updates itself in real time. Fast forward a few years.
Okay, I'm with you.
Imagine a vast server farm running continuous learning AI agents. In a single afternoon, those agents autonomously map 1 million new chemical compounds, perfectly curing 1,000 rare diseases and inventing flawless blueprints for zero-emission energy.
Sounds like utopia.
It does. The math works. The physics are perfect. But they generate this data so fast and the mechanisms are so deeply complex that no human mind ever actually reads or understands the underlying logic.
Oh, wow.
Are those things actually discovered? If profound, world-altering knowledge exists perfectly within a silicon memory bank, but has never been comprehended by human consciousness, what do we call it?
That is a chilling thought.
Will the future of human progress require a new philosophical definition of discovery itself? One where we merely harvest the fruits of a digital mind, forever blind to the roots of the tree?